Call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Chris, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Mr. Yoshimura?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go Cubs.
Okay, everyone has received a copy of the meeting minutes from July 9th. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Been moved in second. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay. Motion passed 5-0. And tonight we have special recognition. Dustin Gehring, come up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dustin Gehring. I'm in charge of student services here, but one of my favorite times is to come up here and present some of our athletes to the Board of Education to be presented and recognized. And tonight we're going to be representing our Northwest Knights and the spring sports athletes there. So I'm going to invite Mr. Brad Watkins up, the AD of Northwest High School, to come up and start the proceedings.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you for, again, having us. It's always a great opportunity for us to showcase the wonderful things that are going on in the halls of Northwest High School, and I feel like I was just up here. But it's an honor to come back and showcase our spring sports. You know, we compete in 4 sports in the springtime within the spring season. Our track program, fast pitch, baseball, and what am I missing? Tennis. Sorry, Coach. And we're very fortunate to have 2 members of each team be selected with first team all SWAC honors. So that's what we're gonna talk about this evening. This evening, unfortunately, our head baseball coach and our head track coach, Coach Chris Mahan with baseball and Brian Miller with track and field, are not able to make it. So I'm gonna kind of speak on their behalf. I'll start things off with our baseball team. Our baseball team has seen its ups and downs over the last couple of years, but I think we've had some really good things that we can kind of hang our hat on as benchmarks and advancement in our program. So we've been very happy with those advancements, one of which being winning a first-round tournament game this year, and also defeating the Colerain Cardinals at UC. That was a good evening, and it was a great night of competition for the district. But it's always fun to walk away with a W over the Cardinals. This evening we're going to talk about 2 of our first team all SWAC honorees. Unfortunately, Rodrigo Rachel, our senior hitting leader on the team, was not able to make it this evening. He is traveling, playing baseball this evening, but he will be attending Marietta College, next fall and competing in baseball. So very excited for Drico. We do have in attendance Mr. Adam Derringer. Adam, you want to come on up? Adam, over the court, as per Coach Mahan, I want to kind of mess up what he had to say about Adam. He thinks very highly of him. He said over the course of 4 years, Adam has, as an athlete, has grown, not only as an athlete, but as a person. He would say early on his biggest weakness was maybe his confidence, and that definitely changed during his senior year. Highlighting a hit game-tying home run versus Walnut Hills, as he puts it, in the first round of the playoffs that propelled us to victory. Adam led with his work ethic and willingness to always get better. Adam is honorable mention all SWAC as a junior, first team all SWAC as a senior, as well as honorable mention all city. Adam is going to be attending Wittenberg University next year. So congratulations, Adam.
Nice up to
You beat Walnut Hills. That's okay.
Congratulations. going to move on to track and field. Again, Coach Miller couldn't be here this evening, but we wanted to highlight our two first-team All-SWAC honorees, first of which being Miss Brittany Grant. Brittany, you want to come on up? There you are. Brittany was also up here for All-SWAC honors in basketball a few months back. Right. Brittany's an exceptional athlete. This year, Brittany competed in the discus, and Brittany finished third with disc in SWAC with a throw of 32. Is that right? Yeah, 32-11-7-5. I think that sounds. I don't know. 132. So like 32 feet. That typo. 132-11-7.75. Fourth and no, I'm sorry. That was shot. She did finish. That was a mistype on his on the notes. Shot was 32-11. Fourth in disc with a throw of 108-1. Filled in on the 4x2 team as an anchor and helped the team finish second. That's during the SWAC meet. Brittany accounted for 19 of the team's 62 points at SWAC, which is very impressive. And she was honorable mention SWAC, I guess, last year. At districts, Brittany participated in the disc and finished fourth with a throw of 108-10 and advanced to regionals. Brittany ended up at regionals 14th overall. On her first throw was a 117.8, which was almost 9 feet further than she had ever thrown before. To finish sixth in regionals. And she was also honorable mention all city. So that was on Twitter a couple days ago. So congratulations, Brett. So you're a thrower that ran the 200? She's got those quick basketball feet too.
Nice job.
Are you going to be doing it this year? She's going to be a hell of an athlete, man.
Next up for track and field is Mr. Barry Brown. Barry, you can come on up. I'm going to speak a little bit about Barry. Barry's overcome a great deal with finding kind of perspective and purpose and drive over the last couple of years, and it's been a lot to see this young man personally, Barry, watch you grow into a leader in our building and on our athletic teams and doing all the right things. I have no doubt that you'll probably be seeing him up here in the fall as he does compete on our football team, and Barry's doing a lot of good things as a leader in our building. So first and foremost, Barry, thank you. Barry took all that hard work ethic and that maturity that he's shown over the last couple of years and applied it to track this off season, competing in the 110 hurdles, finishing first at our SWAC meet with a 15.71, which is pretty impressive. 200 finished first with a 22.92. Participated in the 4x1, finished second. Scored 28 of the team's 57 points on the boys' side, and he was obviously first team all SWAC. At districts, Barry ran in the 100-meter dash for the first time. Barry finished second in the 100-meter dash and advanced to regionals with an 11.19. Qualified for the 110 hurdles and 110 hurdle finals with the sixth best time, but scratched from the race since he had a better chance to advance in a regional meet at the 100, which is the race right after the 110 hurdles. Finished third in the 200 with a time of 22.67 at districts, and again advanced to regionals. At regionals, Barry finished 10th in the 200, did not make the finals, and in the 100, Barry qualified for the finals and finished 8th with a time of 11.04. Again, Barry's, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of good things from Barry and representing our high school and district very well. So, Barry Brown.
Great job.
Major scrimmage at Walnut, okay? Okay, Brad.
So only ran the 100 twice,
Yeah.
and the second time was at regionals.
Be fast.
That's pretty impressive.
It's fun. I mean, it's fun about all our kids, and I kind of shined on Barry just because we've had some history. But all of our kids have done a great job adapting, and that's what I love about being there is that, you know, when given a challenge, you start seeing them rise to the challenge, and that's going to make our programs and ultimately these kiddos successful later on. So Coach Fields drew short straw. She gets to follow me. And so Coach Fields is our head fast pitch coach. She's going to talk about a couple of her athletes, and I'll turn it over to Deb.
First, I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity to recognize these phenomenal athletes we have at Northwest High School. The first player I'm going to recognize is Kylie Heiser. All right. Kylie's a senior. She played first base for me for her 4 years, her career at Northwest High School. She did make first team SWAC this year. I have some stats here, so I apologize. I probably have more than what you guys want to listen to, but I have two phenomenal players in this room, and I can't short them this. She was third in SWAC in batting at .519, second in SWAC in home runs with 6. She was our Northwest Squire Award winner, which was our best offensive player. She did play in all 20 games this season. She led the team in batting average at .529, on-base percentage .587, RBIs 26, home runs 6, triples 2, doubles 6, overall hits 28, runs scored 19. She was second team SWAC her freshman year, first team SWAC sophomore, junior, and last year. On top of her athleticism, she got the SWAC Academic Award, which is a 3.5 GPA or higher for a varsity player her freshman and sophomore year. And I have a few more stats for you. We've been keeping since 1998 records for fast pitch. And she has not only left her mark in SWAC, but she's left her mark forever at Northwest High School. Highest batting average, .519. She is second. Highest on base, .582. She's second in school history. Most doubles, 6. She's fourth in school history. Most triples, she's tied for second in school history. Most home runs, 7. She's second in school history. RBIs, 29. She's third in school history. Most at bats, 54. She's 8th. And most total hits, 34th, third in Northwest history. She was named the first team District 16 in May, and she was named in June to 2018 Cincinnati Enquirer Spring All-Stars first team. Kylie Heiser. And I did leave out, she is continuing her education at Miami Hamilton. Excellent. My next athlete is Elena Maddie.
Big kids.
Elena Maddie, senior, 4-year starting pitcher, made SWAC first team for second year in a row. Elena, for the second year in her pitching career, had over 100 strikeouts. She is third in SWAC with 101. Elena is our Robin Burbrink Sportsman Award winner for Northwest High School. Some SWAC awards: she was first team SWAC as 9th grade, honorable mention SWAC 10th grade, first team SWAC 11th, and obviously first team SWAC her senior year. She also received the SWAC Academic for her academics her freshman and sophomore year. Some Northwest records she has also put her name on. Highest batting average, .532, she's first. Highest fielding percentage, 1,000, tied for first. Total hits, 42, first. Most doubles, 6, fourth. Most home runs, 9, first. Most RBIs, 29, third. Career strikeouts, 394, third. She was named yeah, I agree. I agree. She was named a first team District 16 in May, and this June she was named a 2018 Cincinnati Enquirer Spring All-Stars first team. She's going to Mount St. Joseph to continue her education and softball career.
And And those stats were over the last 20 years, correct?
Yes.
Since that's
Yes, so amazing. Thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity.
Great job. Congratulations.
Next, I'd like to introduce Coach Lori Byer, our head girls and boys tennis coach. Coaches boys in the spring. I think I talked her back into it. So I'll turn things over to Coach.
Thank you. I too would like to thank for this opportunity to talk about these fantastic athletes that we have. I'm going to bring my guys up as a pair because that's kind of what they were for me on the tennis team. Mr. Will Jasper and Ezekiel Bungavong. They could come on up. I've kind of been attached at the hip for a while on the tennis team. They've always wanted to play doubles together, and they were my first team doubles team this year. They went 14-6 overall. They came in second in the SWAC. The SWAC for tennis has kind of two parts to it, a regular season part and then a tournament part, and you put them together to make the whole go together. So they came in second. They were elected first team all-league in the SWAC for tennis. That was a career highlight for me as well because coaching tennis was the first teamers I had from the boys team in my career there. So it was fantastic to watch them play this year. They were exciting. They did some amazing things out there. I was just amazed at how well they have improved their game over the 4 years that they've played for me. It was just fun. They were runner-ups in our Coaches Classic. Coaches Classic for tennis has different flights. Our flight, we won this year a championship, and it was due mainly to the points that they accumulated for us in their finish in their bracket. And that's sponsored by the Greater Cincinnati Tennis Coaches Association. So they were runner-ups there. They also received from the Greater Cincinnati Tennis Coaches Association a Distinguished Players Award for their doubles prowess out there. And they both then were, like I said, elected first team all-league. These guys have also been for 4 years straight scholar athletes, which I'm most proud of. They've been that GPA 3.5 for above for the last 4 years. Zeke is going to continue his education at Ohio State, going into nursing. He was also awarded the OHSAA Archie Griffin Award this year, Integrity and Sportsmanship. Will is going to continue his education at Miami University in the business program. He's been awarded quite a nice academic scholarship to attend up there. So I am super proud of these guys. I hate to see them leave. I wish they had more eligibility for high school, but they do have to move on. It's going to be tough to fill their shoes next year. So Zeke Bungavong and Will Jasper.
great job.
Good job, guys. Congratulations. Congratulations, son.
Congratulations.
Could we just take a minute and have all the guests, parents, families stand up that attended tonight and that supported these student athletes, and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. I think we're going to give you a chance for a photo op, and that's your way of sneaking out of here. And unless you want to come back, you can come back for the rest of the meeting.
So friends, you are all
More than
welcome to
welcome.
stay for the entirety of the meeting. However, we're going to step outside to the flagpole, and that is your exit to leave. So you want to make sure you bring your things with you. Coaches, thank you for being here and taking your time in the summer to be a part of this presentation. It is really, really special for the kids and the parents and our board members. They really enjoy
Absolutely.
doing this. So thank you for taking the time to do it. Mr. Watkins, thank you for taking the time to do this. So with that being said, I'll have all of our participants and their family and guests step out to the flagpole, and we'll take some pictures there.
Go Knights. think we're going to start here in a minute with our master facility plan with Chris and Pete.
I got your text. I didn't answer your text.
That's all right.
I forgot.
I forgot I was on vacation.
Yeah, sorry for calling. No.
That's perfectly okay. All right. It's hard to follow that up. For the record, I probably ran the 100 in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Anyway, thanks for your time. I know there's a big agenda. We'll keep it brief tonight, but I think it's an exciting time. You know, we've been at this for, seems like 2 or 3 years, it seems like. But we're coming down the home stretch. I'll let Chris give most of the updates because I was on vacation all last week, and I'm really clueless right now on where everything's at, except for we're on schedule, and we got some great things that are going forward. Typically, let's see here. I think I just hit this button. Yeah, so our typical agenda is give you a brief update, share some important news tonight. We always like to share where we are on the dollars, because that's pretty important. Later in the evening, there's some contingency returns and some additional scope we've picked up for the district we've talked about for a while, and a little bit of update on the timeline. But with that, I'm going to let Chris jump in on and talk a little bit about where we're at.
All right, so this is an aerial view of Struble Elementary. This picture was taken on July 3rd, so just over a week and a half ago, just about 2 weeks ago. So what's going on here is that we've started demolition of Struble Elementary, the old building back here, and then the parking lot out in front for the bus drop-off area is in progress. And then this next photo is, as of today, Struble Elementary is gone. And we have the parking lot in place. It's about halfway done. We had to get the old building out of the way before we could continue on with the rest of the bus line. So the demolition crews will finish up tomorrow, and then they're packing up and leaving. This is a picture from Taylor Elementary, also from July 3rd. So in this overhead view, Taylor Elementary is pretty much gone, and what you see here is the remaining foundation. This is the parking lot that used to be out in front. And we have a little bit of asphalt pavement down here along the bus loop for the new building. And then just recently, I think this was on Friday last week, this is what the site looks like now. So this is where Old Taylor used to be in. So it's now a field.
And I think you're starting stone for the paving on the south parking lot next Monday.
Yep, so this is actually a view out of the back of the school through one of the future ELAs.
Which is gorgeous.
Yeah. And then take a step back, kind of flip the view. So this is what the elementary school looks like from the field. At Pleasant Run, we've got a lot of work going on here. So we're going to start at Pippin Road and work our way back. So at Pippin Road, as of today, we've got drainage in place. So we're actually working on widening Pippin Road to add a right turn lane. And then this is a realigned entry into the new campus. As of tomorrow, we're going to be putting down asphalt along this new entrance. Along Pleasant Run Middle School, we've got the bus lot up towards, that would be the south side of the building. And we're putting pavement down there tomorrow. So we'll have a full bus loop, practically from Pippin Road to the back of the new elementary school. And then on this side, we've got the concrete and future playgrounds going in.
And one
Inside.
of the items on the change orders later tonight is the additional work that we're funding out of the project for all the improvements on Pleasant Run Middle School on the whole site.
And one other project that we have going on here is actually in the middle school. So we're in the middle of installing the new air conditioning system there.
Chris, what are you doing between the two buildings?
So between the two buildings, there's going to be a new plaza right about here, with sidewalks connecting to this rear entrance and then connecting out towards this parking lot area. So important milestones that we've had, we recently secured the temporary occupancy certificate, so that allows staff to move into the building. They actually have been in the building for about a week, just over a week. They moved in starting July 9th. We've also been returning contingency to the school district, which has allowed us to add more scope into the project, such as some of that site work around Pleasant Run Middle School. The Pippin Road project started, and then Banning Road, that's the headache at Banning and Coleraine. I think we've all seen the utility trucks out there. They're in the process of relocating all the overhead utilities so we can then widen Banning Road approaching Colerain.
Is that going to be done by the start of school?
We're hoping to have all the
Hoping.
turn lane project going in. We're trying to figure out the signaling at Banning and Colerain Avenue with the realignment and stuff, and we don't have that final answer yet, but the goal is to have the turn lane in and have everything up and running. And if we got to put some temporary signals in, would be the goal. We use the existing signals.
Sure.
Because we're dealing with some permitting issues or some ODOT-related issues with utility relocations and easements and stuff like that.
I think the other thing is the poles, they want them to be the same as the Galbraith Colerain intersection and all the other ones down
Sure.
there. And those are on back order to October most likely.
Yeah.
It is, it's interesting, in the state of Ohio, I guess there's only one signal pole that everybody is providing for all the vendors in the state. The one big company went in and bought out the little guys, so every order in the entire state, every street project that this new code kind of, the ODOT requirements are going toward, there are these big swing poles that don't have the cables with the lights hanging on them, and they're really extremely hard to get it currently, just based on demand.
Either
So that's why
way,
we're doing temporary
with lights
stuff.
or without, we will have police in place. We will be able to
Solve
run.
the traffic problem. I'll let Chris talk a little bit. Really, we haven't updated a whole lot of budgets since our last meeting. I mean, we're continuing updating budgets, but we're getting down and we're returning contingency and we're sort of holding tight with some things. But at the end of the day, you know, our demolition projects are tracking the same. Our renovation projects are tracking the same. Until we get to the end of these projects and start really recapping the dollars, you'll start seeing the contingency come back. The street projects are carried into budget. The current, we've been tracking around the 85.3 number for a while now. The current rebates that are in this budget are pretty real. The $950,000 includes all the Duke rebates to date. I think we're waiting on some LED light rebates, and the E-rate funding is about $212,000 that'll come back. Chris can sort of talk to the contingency a little bit, and
Yeah, so there is a little bit of change in contingency since the last time we talked, and that's just a reflection of dealing with the site work that's been ongoing over the last couple months. So we're currently setting at about $1 million, and there's about 2 months left in the project. So that puts the project in a really good position. So we're looking at returning contingency at the end of the project to continue adding scope later on, or just return the funds to the district. I think we'll find a way to make improvements elsewhere in the district.
I cannot emphasize how nice this is. Most schools, when they get to this point, there's a lack of funds. Because of Chris and Pete and our Chris constantly hounding, working with SHP, Megan Skanska, we are in a great situation where we do have contingency funds. This is, I think, 1 out of 100 that I've heard when you talk about a change order, that it's not against the school district, it's for the school district. So,
And that's over and above the contingency change orders that have been given
Yeah.
back that are funding the scope, like the flooring and some of the things that we get in later in the meeting. So things are good on the budget.
Yep. So the timeline, the roadmap here on out. So what's really critical right now is all the site work, so getting the parking lots in place. We couldn't do a whole lot of that until the school year was out, just because we had to demolish the old schools before we can build new parking lots. So that's what we're really focusing on this summer. The admin staff, they've moved in and they're getting settled in. The classrooms are currently getting prepped, so we've got furniture deliveries at all 3 schools, and that's being set up as we speak. And we're right on track to open up for class on the 21st. Colerain High School, the air conditioning will be on for the first day of school. And same thing for Pleasant Run Middle School. And then lastly, the abatement and demolition projects, what we have left are Welch and Pleasant Run Elementary. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern at the moment, but those projects are ready to start.
and I can give some updates
Yeah.
during mine at the end.
So with that, you know, it's trying to keep it brief and short. We've got a lot of work to do between now and the first day of school, but, you know, I've been out touring the jobs and I feel comfortable where we're at. And, you know, it stopped raining for a change, so that's nice to hear. And again, feel free to ask questions.
I just want to congratulate the team. I mean, this is huge to have that contingency amount at this state of the game, and it's just You guys have been great to work with, and I mean, this is the biggest thing that this district has taken on probably ever, and it's very, very exciting, and it's nice, it's been smooth, and we're really, really excited and very pleased.
We couldn't do it without great administrative staff that works for the board, that's for sure, as well as board support, so we're excited to be part of it.
Yeah, it's nice.
We'll really be excited when we cut those ribbons here next month. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Crystalline, we have a special presentation. It's the diversity report.
Great, thank you. Good evening. I'm Dr. Crystalline Turney, Assistant Director of Recruitment, Diversity, and Employee Relations. I am here this evening to share with you what we believe to be our finalized diversity plan, and we have some diversity members in the audience with us, so thank you for attending and continuing to support our efforts. Over the last year, as you know, Northwest Local School District has been dedicated to evaluating the diverse needs of our students, staff, and community. The process began probably last year this time with the development of our focus groups. And what we determined from those focus groups was a need to form a diversity committee comprised of staff members, community members, parents, as well as students, so that we can continue to address some of our needs in our district. So with that, in late 2017, we developed a diversity committee comprised of approximately 30 diverse staff members, parents, and community members. We met from January to May, and our participants put in 25 plus hours in working on this. The board members have access to this at this time, but if we can scroll down a little bit. First of all, this is a snapshot and an overview of the pillars that are listed, and those are leadership, curriculum, community engagement, staffing, as well as student engagement. So we broke it into 5 pillars, and we based our goals and our plans around each of those. From there, in the body of the plan, we go into depth for each pillar, as well as the goal, the focus area, and what we are working to achieve. So in the fall, we plan to reconvene and to grow our diversity committee, including more students, parents, staff members, as well as community members, so that we can continue to evaluate the success of this, make modifications and changes, and of course implement it. And along the way, any barriers or challenges that we foresee, that we will address those to continue to monitor and develop this plan. We know that the implementation of this plan is a long-term effort, and we know it will not happen overnight, and we are grateful for your support and the continued efforts of our AO staff member, including our superintendent, Mr. Bowling, to ensure that this happens. So we anticipate challenges as well as cultural shifts, and we are ready for those challenges, and we are willing to make any additional changes as we go throughout this process to ensure that it will remain a solid part of our district for many years to come. So this, again, is a diversity plan developed by our diversity committee, as well as with the support of our AO staff members. And this is our proposal for this evening. So our board members have access to it, and once it is approved, it will be available for our community members on our website as well. Any questions?
Chris, I think it's important to bring up to the board before you ask your questions is that this will be a process for us to train every administrator, every staff member in our district. This isn't just the diversity team. It is a full implementation. So we are getting where we need to be, but it's going to take time to implement this, just so you have that understanding.
Absolutely. And so in each of the pillars, there are very specific action steps. So for example, in staffing, first of all, it includes recruiting staff members of color, but it also includes training our current staff members so that they are equipped with the challenges that our minority students, as well as our students in poverty and our ESL students, bring to us. So it's multi-parted in each of those pillars to make sure that we are addressing all of our needs and concerns.
Pillar 4, I read the whole thing today,
Okay.
but Pillar 4 raises some questions with me is to increase the number of minority hires to make staff representative of the student population. Do you know what the racial breakdown in the district is? Does anybody know?
Someone can give me the specific numbers.
Anybody?
You want
Students,
staff to
yeah,
students?
because the hires would reflect, if they're certified teachers, would reflect the
Absolutely.
And if you
population.
remember what our African American population, is it 32, 36%?
I feel like it's between 35 and 40.
35 minority to 60%?
African American specifically, 35 to 40% of
Okay.
students.
Okay. I just wanted to know what the racial breakdown was, because if you are pushing for more of a minority representation on the, specifically the teaching staff, I really did want to know that percentage.
Right.
It varies dramatically from one side of the district to the other. It goes from 25 to 45.
Okay.
Look at it
Right.
that way. but
I
that's-
think it's a great plan,
Thank you.
but I just needed to clarify some stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If I could just jump in, Kristen, the racial breakdown of staff are classified as more diverse than are certified, but so far in this hiring season, we've been able to increase the diverse staff. We have, of the candidates that we've hired, we have 4 diverse staff members who are certified, 3 who are classified, and we're still in the hiring season. So we've seen some shifts where we're making some gains when finding and recruiting and hiring diverse candidates.
Okay. What is the approach for the ESL students? What are you gonna, they're part of this.
Absolutely.
Okay. What, do you hire translators or teachers that can teach the ESL? Or-
Yes, yes. So we've made some curriculum changes over the years with a greater focus on ESL students and making
Great.
sure that we are providing ESL tutors as well as teachers for those students. And some are bilingual, while others are just well-trained in English as a second language.
What's the breakdown of ESL students?
So it's currently about 4.6%
Okay,
district-wide. And we see a big population coming through our preschool in particular, where they're over 20%.
Okay.
And
Great.
so we see that kind of coming through the Struble, WAMS chain of schools right now.
thank you.
32 new kindergartners coming to Struble that are classified or say on a home language survey this year that the English is a second language.
Wow.
They haven't been tested yet to be screened to say that they qualify, but 32 kindergartners already at Struble.
That's great.
Which is quite a population of ESL.
I'm glad they're looking out for
And
themselves.
don't take our stats as, oh, fine, we got 4 certified, we got 3 classified. Remember, we haven't had much time to train our administrators yet. Some of our administrators on their own have gone out and worked with Chrislyn directly to recruit more and more. We did spend time at the colleges, but we have other ideas that will be implemented throughout next year. The great thing is, I don't think, knock on wood, we've had any major resignations in either high school of staff, so there's not as many openings as we've had in the past also. So we are starting to slow down with resignations, our pay is getting where it needs to be, but we must improve and we must make sure that our staff is reflective of the makeup of our student body. That includes ESL, African American, students with disabilities, every piece of it.
Thank you.
So is there a marketing plan to really share it? I mean, you guys have done a great job, put a lot of time and thought into all this. Is there a way of using that as a marketing tool?
Yes, and we did some of that. We piloted in the spring, in which we specifically targeted minority candidates. And then for non-minority candidates, we shared with them what we were working on so that they knew that they were coming to a culturally responsive district who was going to be supportive in helping them meet their classroom needs as well. So in the marketing process, in the spring, that's kind of how we targeted them at the teacher job fairs. And that was our first time out. We developed the plan probably a month before we went out, and we got some good success. So we know that as we continue to develop that in the recruitment seasons, we're going to improve and really work to boost our numbers.
When you go to the job fairs, what's the number one thing these kids are looking for? Money?
a job, honestly. I think they just want a job. We saw different things when we went. We saw some districts who were targeting minority candidates specifically, and the minority candidates just kind of going wherever they were pulled. And then we saw some students who were targeting specific districts because they feel as if it might be a nicer district, or the district is more well off, or they might not have some of the challenges that they have in other districts. And then we also saw a lot of alums going back to where they felt comfortable, where they graduated from school. And then we saw student teachers kind of going to some of the districts that they came from. We had several who were not graduates of our districts, but they did their student teaching here, and they had very positive experiences and wanted to come back. So just recruiting that way as well. And when we start getting new student teacher candidates, making sure that we are seeking out minority candidates so that perhaps they have those same experiences and they want to come back here and make this their home as well.
And the new ones, our new staff that comes will talk.
Absolutely.
And word of mouth will help as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
You guys have done a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Joe, do we have a legislative update?
They're dormant.
Okay.
They're not.
Butler Ted?
Our meeting is tomorrow night.
Okay, do we have any reports from employee organizations, certificated or licensed? Any reports from classified? Any reports from school-related organizations? I have not received a request for community comments. So Todd?
All right, the first item is a certificated licensed personnel item, certificated retirements and resignations. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions regarding the retirements and resignations?
I would like to say it's nice to see that the lists are very short this year.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is classified retirements and resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Motion passed 5-0.
Next couple of items are fiscal items. The first one is then and now certificates over $3,000. The superintendent treasurer recommend the Board of Education authorize the payments over $3,000 requiring a then and now certificate as listed.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Anybody have any questions on the then and now certificates? Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is to accept the fiscal year 18 final amended certificate of estimated resources. Superintendent and treasurer recommend the Board of Education accept the final amended certificate of estimated resources as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is official certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 19. The superintendent and treasurer recommends the Board of Education accept the final amended certificate of estimated resources as listed.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is a general business item, resolution to declare students impractical to transport. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the resolution to declare students impractical to transport as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions regarding the impractical to transport? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is the Master Facility Project GMP adjustments. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the attached change orders as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions regarding these? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is vendor contracts. The superintendent treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the vendor contracts as listed.
So moved.
Second?
Moved in second. Does anyone have questions on the vendor contracts? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is donations to Northwest Local School District. Donna Deininger, I apologize if I mispronounced her name, is donating a French horn with an estimated value of $1,500 to Northwest High School. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the donation to Northwest Local School District as listed.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. I'd like to just take the opportunity to thank Donna. That is a very generous donation, and it's going to, give kids the opportunity to play the French horn. I think that's great. Anybody else? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is certificated licensed personnel items. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated licensed personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Questions regarding certificate on licensed personnel? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is classified personnel items. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions on the classified personnel? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is curriculum and instruction, revised middle school fees. These were revised due to the increased cost of a middle school calculator. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the revised middle school fees as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'd just like to remind everybody, I know the department works very hard to keep the fees down and as economical as possible for our students. I believe last year we lowered all the grades, but I think one. So it is definitely looked at every year. Those darn middle school calculators, though. Expensive. Okay. Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is student services, extended athletic field trip for Northwest High School cheerleaders. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the extended athletic field trip as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions regarding the Northwest cheerleaders going to camp? Okay. Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is an extended athletic field trip for Northwest High School football team. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the extended athletic field trip as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? I noticed a couple of the guys had the T-shirts on tonight for Ohio Dominican. Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is 2018-2019 Student Service Handbook. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the 2018-2019 Student Services Handbooks as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any questions on any of the handbooks?
It's just unbelievable how much information's in one of those things. I just hope all the parents get a chance to read them.
Yes. Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is Student Services for information only, harassment, intimidation, bullying, annual reporting document. As you can see, we have started documenting more of the cases. So instead of the 1, 2, or 3, which was not realistic in the past, there is much more explicit follow-through. Dustin is the one who will do the investigation for the district. So if a parent files a bullying form complaint, of which they can get on our website or at any school, Dustin is the one who follows up and not the principal to make sure that it's done equitably. Not that our principals wouldn't, but it needs to have an outsider looking in. So,
Dustin, are we going to get a statistical thing on at the end of the year on how many kids at the end of the school year, how many kids are involved with this bullying and intimidation?
So the numbers you're looking at there will reflect the school
Okay.
So both reported and then also confirmed.
There's no numbers attached
We don't
to
have
this.
anything
You
attached.
don't have the document back? Gotcha, okay. I'll run a good copy, I'll have this for you. So, what you see is exactly that, it's the number of allegations and the number that are verified. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, about 15 verified cases this year at the end of the year versus what we've seen in past years, which was zeros and ones, which made no sense for a district of 9,500 students. So we're seeing a little bit more reflection of reality, putting it back on the forefront, not that it wasn't ever for our principals. And then as the principals finish up everything and they bring me all the documents, I can review every single thing to make sure that we've done all the follow through we need to. Gone is the culture of being afraid to say yes, it was going, which was kind of driving some of that. And so we don't have that culture anymore. It's okay if we say it is. Let's just make sure we're doing something about it. And that's what you're seeing reflected here. I apologize. I thought the attachment was on there. So I'll make sure.
All we need to do is make sure you get it to Donna. She will make sure it's part of the publication, so it's public information for anybody who wants to see it.
Yes, sir. Then that guy's email to all of you.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
That'd be
that's
great.
fine.
Perfect.
Dustin, I had talked to you prior to this, but I think, I love that it's more reflective. I think it is very important that any child, parent, grandparent, whoever, knows that they can come to school and they can talk to the building principal or the counselor or so on and so forth, and they should always be offered that form immediately, and it should be investigated thoroughly, and I know we'll do a good job with that. And we can't say that we only have 1 or 2 because it happens. We just got to do our best to investigate it and make things right.
It's a shame because a lot of times kids hold on to it and they won't come forth. And then you don't find out until later or years later, you know, why something happened at school. And it turns out that way. So it's good that they have a reporting method to work with now.
You've got a real tough job there because you've got to balance what is fabrication to truth, and that's a real tough job. So good luck.
Well, we always start with everything serious. So
Yeah.
we start there and start digging down and find that, boy, it is kind of back and forth and not really a bullying situation, but more of code mistreatment, which happens quite a bit, or just a single event that was mistreatment. We'll still act accordingly. We'll still take action upon that. But if things arise to that level to say, yes, we believe this is truly bullying, harassment, intimidation, it does have to meet some criteria. And then, of course, we're always following through with all of that with some further action steps. I've not talked to one single principal who didn't say the words, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And that's what they're seeking after. So a lot of the kudos go right back to the principals. They're doing the boots on the ground work to get this thing fixed. Yes, the report comes through me, that's all fine, but they're doing the work around really fixing the stuff. Changing lockers, changing classes, changing stuff. So.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to give an update on our properties. The first thing I'd like to let everybody know is per Ohio Revised Code, we have now exhausted the time limit and received no interest in the properties by any high-performing community or charter schools. Also, per ORC, we advertised and received no bids during our July 9th public auction. And so per ORC, we now may offer them by private sale. So some things that have happened on the Beavis and Welch property is myself, Amy, and Chris McKee met TJ Ackerman and Jeff Mills of Colerain Township. He is a person who has done city Rama before in different parts of the city. He is very interested in putting up a subdivision of houses on the 11.5 acres. Chris, I sent you an email. Can you put that? Welch, because we have Welch people here. So, as we have talked to Welch, several things have come into play with the Pleasant Run Farms Association. And even though we have gone to a couple of their meetings, I still have folks who live in the community who continue to ask questions. So, got to find a way to get it out to them also because they need to know what we're aware of and what we're doing. So, the first thing we talked about is demolition of the building and then a walking path going through there. That was pretty much the final recommendation we were going to make. And then we met with TJ. The houses that he has here are anywhere from $170 to $240 in price. In order for this to occur, several things are going to happen. So I am going to invite TJ Springfield Township council members, Chris and myself will go to a Pleasant Run Farms meeting in either August or September when we can set that up, present what he wants to show and what's going on there, get their feedback, come back to you and talk to you as a board as to what to do. If you click on Beavis, Amy, please, you would see how he's got designed the Beavis area layout. So he is very interested in 30 homes on each site. And we will find out the details. We will find out more information. I just wanted to put it as public information for the first time to bring it to your attention. He would then like to meet with you in executive session after he meets with the Pleasant Run Farm Association, and then we would notify the Beavis folks also of a meeting. And then if things go well on those two sites, we are up in the air, and we might as well come to Weigel now. For next year, Weigel will stay pat as is. It will be a catch-all to hold our containings. We are going to try our best to move our special ed offices as quickly and smoothly as possible. I don't want anybody in the district to panic, though. We will do it after we get school started, but we need those offices over here with us. We are then evaluating the value of this property because we have two major connections. One's to Banning Road. The other could be out to Colerain Avenue, and we have businesses that are interested in the purchase of each. Now, I am also getting phone calls from parents who live around the Weigel area wanting to know what's going on. And at this time, I'm telling them for a year we are staying put as is. We will continue to do research and see what is in the best interest for Weigel. That leaves Pleasant Run Elementary. We are currently working with Hamilton County Educational Service Center to see what programs they can offer, what PD developments they can put out there. So that's a work in progress. I don't see that anytime soon. So we'll
The Hamilton County ESC, are they interested in purchasing that building?
either interested in purchasing it and tearing it down and rebuilding it, or remodeling it and using it as is. So it could go either way. I will tell you, however, the price for the land at Welch and the price for the land at Beavis will be very low because that's what entices TJ to come in. The trade-off in our mind is that it brings families to our school district. If you take the farms, last meeting we were at, we were talking about how do you increase people getting into the pool and joining those memberships. That's great, but we need them in school also, and we need those kids enrolled. So this could really help increase our enrollment, and that's what puts money in our pocket and less chance of needing levies as we go forward. So we have 3 big possible sites for that to happen, but that currently is where we are with any of the properties. Do you have any questions? All right, the last thing I had is we finalized OPSI negotiations. Just for those of you who don't know, OPSI is our bus union for our bus drivers and transportation. The contract has temporarily been settled. They will go for ratification Wednesday at 3 o'clock at Houston. We would like to do an emergency board meeting at 7:30 a.m. to finalize it, as long as it's ratified, which we feel 100% it will, and wanted to know your all's availability at 7:30 Thursday morning. It would take about a 5-minute meeting.
This Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, I can make it.
So we'll be in contact Wednesday afternoon. It will just be ratification. What is the hurry up? Why aren't you waiting August? We need to start payroll, put it in place. Amy needs to make all the adjustments. It is very important that we get this taken care of. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Okay, at this time, community comments. Any questions about anything that was talked about tonight at the meeting? Yes.
Can you pull the Welch one back up, Amy? Without TJ here, I would be misspeaking. Chris, do you?
Yeah, typically they would when they have a lot of hard services.
That's what it looks like in my mind.
So, real quick, I'm also curious because I know that's water, stormwater, specifically municipalities don't want to deal with the cost, but normally they have HOA and stuff to deal with that. Is that, did Ackerman talk about HOA stuff?
No, that's why we would come to your place with him. So no, we haven't started any of those discussions. He just wanted to have a visual for the board.
Okay. Okay, we'll move into board member comments. Joe?
I just want to piggyback on these, the transportation negotiations. I thought Amy and Chris, Daryl did a great job negotiating a new contract for those guys. And they did their job too, but I think it's a very fair contract, and hopefully they'll ratify. So I can come in here at 7:30 in the morning to sign off on it. That's it.
I'd just like to thank the student athletes that came tonight, that all their hard work got recognized. It's always great to see them guys come in. I'd like to thank Pete and his group for presenting tonight. It's getting exciting. We're getting close to opening the school, so it's going to be fun. And I'd like to thank Chrislyn and her team for putting on building a great project for us to work on in the future.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, almost exactly what Bob said is kind of what I was thinking. Chrislyn, thank you so much for, and your team for putting that together. I'm excited about the schools getting ready to open, and I want to thank all of you guys because I know that even though school is out, there's a lot of restructuring and a lot of things like that, and probably there's some fingers crossed that, hey, the decisions we made are going to play out the way we want them to. So thank you for all your hard work, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the ribbon cutting ceremonies.
Jim?
Just want to say, like Joe did about the negotiations, I think everybody was very professional. I think everybody was pretty fair about everything, and it was very, very good negotiations. And then thanks to everybody that presented tonight. I can't wait to get those schools open on the 21st of August.
And Pete, when you said it seems like, like it's been longer, honestly, in a way, it seems like it's gone pretty fast. To sit here and I just keep staring at this, where the ceremonies are going to be August 2nd is Taylor, Pleasant Run Elementary is August 7th, and then Struble on the 14th. The ribbon cutting, it almost seems like yesterday when we were having that first vote that, chose your team, to be the ones to lead this, and here we are. It's gone very smooth, and this is just so exciting. And I love listening to the coaches and how excited they get. Hearing Lori, just go on about the doubles team with tennis, and it's just so neat because you can tell. I mean, let's face it, there aren't any coaches that make tons of money doing this. They do it because they love doing it. They love spending time with the kids, and for them to come in here on a summer night and just be beaming about their kids says a lot about our staff. And our kids are very, very fortunate to have all the coaches and the drama teachers and everyone else that gives that extra time, because it's their passion that they're sharing and instilling in these kids. And it can last as long as you want, Dustin, because that's the best part of the meeting, is to see and the reaction, and just watching the two boys and them, trying not to smile, but they're smiling, and just the parents being so proud. It's really nice. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.